It's time to start the meeting, so welcome to everybody. Call the meeting to order. Let's stand for the opening prayer. Shelby, you're our number one prayer.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and everything you've given us. We pray for the rain. We ask that you be there, everybody in the county. And we ask that you help us get through this time of trying to complete what we're trying to do. So we ask this in your name.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. Item 5 on the agenda is discuss review status and progress of the Karnes County Jail project with presentation by the project architect and contractor, authored by Jeff Chapman. Jeff's supposed to be here, I think. I'm not sure whether he is or not. I haven't seen him.
He said he was going to be here, Judge. I talked to him, he said.
Okay. Well, there he is.
He's on time.
We're
Right here.
5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we're a little late. Sorry about that.
We have opened the meeting at our own item 5, which is discuss review status and progress of the Karnes County Jail project with presentation by the project architect and contractor, authored by you, Jeff. So,
Thank you. I don't have too much to report. I know that Donnie has given y'all copies of the schedule and the plan grid. I looked over it last night when I got it. Looks like they've completed some items. I'm going to have him kind of explain a little bit more in detail about what's been accomplished. The issues with the drainage ditch, I was working on that this week with the county attorney, with the city attorney. I understand that Commissioner Rosales met with the city manager and they discussed the issue. It's my understanding from talking to James that we don't have an issue with respect to the ditch, that the city is going to allow us to proceed as planned, although it's probably recommended that we do something with respect to stamping the concrete or placing aggregate in the concrete to eliminate the presence of the attractive nuisance for skateboarders and other folks who might want to get down into that ditch and use it for something other than drainage, which is what it's obviously intended for. That should eliminate any of the civil engineering concerns that we discussed last week. And presuming that that is in fact the case, it should allow HMC to begin working to secure the materials and the labor to go ahead and finish that feature of the property and construction. I'll try to get something in writing from either the city attorney or the city manager to make sure that that is recognized as the case. So that's kind of my report and update on that issue. I have been, with respect to the complaint that was made to TCEQ about the contamination of the property where the jail sits, I have been in contact with TCEQ. I've sent the investigator a copy of the complete Chapman Engineering soil contamination report, and she has received that, is going to review it. I did ask her about next steps if anything were to happen. She said that typically in these situations she does her investigation, she makes sure that the public entity has taken care of following the recommendations that were made, and she was not able to tell me whether there would be any kind of penalties or actions required of the county, because she said that in almost every case she's been involved in, there's nothing that is required. In other words, she typically finds these complaints resolve themselves because the county has acted in accordance with its obligations. It's my understanding from looking at the soil report that we've done everything we're supposed to do with respect to this property. So we'll see what TCEQ says, but I'm not overly concerned at this point that we will have to do anything based on what I've read and my knowledge of what's in the soil that's there that has not been previously remediated. So that's kind of my report on the two issues I was most heavily involved with this week. We'll follow up on a concrete issue, and I know there was some issue with A1 Electric, who's a subcontractor on the jail. They contacted Lorraine's office last week asking for payment. I responded because the request was untimely. They were seeking payment for invoices that hadn't yet been submitted to the county and were in fact a retainage. It's problematic that subcontractors asking for retainage before they're done with their work. I informed Donnie of that yesterday to let him deal with A1. They're supposed to be out there this week, but they have apparently, from talking to Donnie yesterday, they haven't shown up. So that's all that I know about subcontractor activity. I'll let Donnie tell you about the plan grid report and the subcontractor activity now. And unless you have any questions for me, I'll sit down and pass the mic.
Okay. Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Might as well.
Somebody ugly.
You've all been given kind of a little packet here. First is the project schedule, progress schedule. It has been reviewed. Well, Lorraine and I reviewed it just prior to the meeting. The large portion, I guess, is the original punch list that we spoke on last week, or the completion list. You have 3 sections. They're all tabbed. The first section is items still open, or our open items list. The second kind of section is items that are in review or pending, or in progress as we speak. And then the third list is items completed. This week, items completed was 79 on the list. If I'm not mistaken, there was 36 last week, Jeff? So that's where we stand right now. The schedule, if you want to go over schedule, or if you have any questions about the schedule, or...
Contractors are all working good?
Yes, sir.
Coming in on time?
Yes, sir. The only one we're having problems with is A1 Electric and the millwork contractor. A1 Electric, I think, will be resolved before this meeting's over with. My president's talking to the owner of the company.
What about why the millwork?
We're having some bad blood issues, but they're being forced to complete.
All you contractors are paid?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Millwork involves the furniture or other projects?
No, this is the architectural woodwork, which are cabinets, countertops. You have a pistol rail that runs through the admin side and the courtroom. So we're right now with the work that they have to complete, they're probably at 92% with their full contract.
Have they been on the job this week?
Yes, sir. They were there Monday and Tuesday. The payment, what started with it is the payment that I received this last, on Friday. Their owner showed up at the office on Monday and couldn't get a check right away. And he got his feelings hurt, pulled his guys off the job. So.
But he's back on, they're back on?
Yes, sir. I've talked to the project manager. He plans on returning to the project next week with some courtroom material. I didn't ask, Lorraine asked about the pistol rail. I didn't specifically ask about the pistol rail. I just said remaining material.
They got their check? They're out there?
They got their check. Yes, sir. They were trying to bill 100%. So I had cut their bill down. They tried to pull 46,000, and I actually cut it down to
They're-
26.
They know as contractors, they can do
Right.
that.
Well,
They should.
not all subcontractors are
Should know.
are pleasant to deal with. Walls Across Texas, the subcontractors right now on the site are systems painters. We're starting the chemical clean the jail side for the lepidolith floor sealer. So they're working mainly in the jail right now. We have Walls Across Texas, which is the drywall contractor. They're on site. ISI Detention, they're working nights right now, but they're on site this week. And then next week is going to be included systems painters, NC millwork, most likely A1 Electric. I can't guarantee that 100%, but my president's talking to the owner. Hopefully that'll be resolved. Castile Fire, oh, they're there today too, sorry. ISI Detention, ISI Security. And the fire alarm, they are 98% complete right now. We're waiting on the electricians to set some boxes, just a handful. So,
Donnie,
Yeah.
on the one that's lime green tab on page 13,
lime green was
the pending,
pending, yes sir.
okay, you've got in review, it says site concrete.
Yes sir.
Ralph Swell was halted by the city manager on July 20th.
Yes sir.
That's been resolved, or what are we waiting on?
I'm just, if I receive something in writing telling me to proceed, and how to proceed, and he said there might be a few, changes, stamped concrete, or, I'm not sure, but when I receive that, I will proceed.
Jeff, are you satisfied with it?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're still making progress. They've knocked off items off the list from last week. It seems like they've accomplished about the same number of items this past week as they did before, so their pace hasn't slowed down. I'll work to resolve the concrete issue with the city and work with Lorraine and her civil to make the determination of whether we're going to go with stamped concrete or an aggregate. We'll get a directive in writing to HMC to get them started to do that, get the materials in order, get that work done.
How are we doing on the gas line?
The boring company will be there on Friday, tomorrow morning. I haven't received 100% confirmation, but CenterPoint is scheduled to be there with the boring company to install the gas line.
If I remember, you said that they recommended the boring company, did they not?
Yes, sir. Aero Directional Drilling, which is in the area, performing all their work. So,
Any other questions from the court?
Just thank you for
Yes, sir.
being on top of it. Appreciate
no
it.
problem.
Thank you.
And you'll get this same packet next week, or every commissioner's court.
We'll meet every week on Thursday is what we agreed on, I believe, is it not, Jeff?
Today we're pleasant, we may not always be pleasant.
No, right? Should know where that bulletproof vest today.
Still on target for the 27th?
Yes, sir. Jail Commission, my president is actually speaking with Brandon, with the Jail Commission, talking on a few issues like the gate, the Sallyport fence, and the gate operator, and ensuring that we can receive the blessing from the Jail Commission if by chance we couldn't get the gate and operator in by that time. But I think we can. Lorraine and I spoke on it this morning. We'll get things moving by this week, early next week, and shop drawings, and I see 3 or 4 weeks. I was guaranteed 3 or 4 weeks that I'll have the gate and operator from Tide Metal on site.
And your critical path that you show here, are you happy with what's gonna happen there, or are we making any moves toward the critical path? The very top on your schedule,
Well, yeah, it's broken up, so, it's broken up in the site building, in the building, are you talking about the building? What line number?
Well, I'm looking at, I guess it's the fence, and then above the fence, the site stuff.
Yes, sir. Yeah, with, I mean, I haven't updated the, site. Honestly, it's still sitting as it was last week because we're waiting on clarification. The fence, I need to update the fence breakout.
In your courtroom also, on the second page, it shows critical also, or at least I'm looking at.
Yes, sir. A critical is anything with five or more items, tied to it. But yes, I would say it's good.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
In addition to the contractor working on his plan grid list and his completion items that they do internally, the field report items, anything, that's for the auditor's office, any field report items that had been outstanding have been focused on very closely with HNC, and we've been able to review quite a few number of items this week that have been completed on those outstanding field report items from the architect. I have a recap sheet on the front for you. There's 3 documents that HNC is working through. One is what we call the in-progress HNC items. These are items that really just take paperwork to follow up through and can be done mainly from the main office, and we separated those out to make it easier for the contractor to respond to those items separately from items that need to be documented more in the field by their people that are out in the field. The in-progress agency items, there are 5 items that were completed this week and 16 items that are still open. On the architect's field report items, as of June 16th, there were 52 items completed this week. So in addition to the 35 that they did on HNCs, they completed 52 of our outstanding items. There are 74 items open that are in progress, and we expect to see quite a few more completed by next week. The plan grid issues, on June 16th, we switched over to using plan grid for our field reports, and so that's why you have 2 different reports there. But the plan grid, we have 7 items that have been closed, 22 items are open, and 3 items are in review, so they're in the process of being worked through. So they have made significant progress.
Excuse me a minute.
Yes, sir.
You said June 16th. Did you mean to say that?
Yes, sir. On June 16th, we switched over from doing the type of field reports we were doing throughout the project. We moved over to plan grid, and so that's why we have 2 different lists.
And that doesn't have anything to do with this September 16th date that's on this cover page?
No, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
That's just the date that we moved over to plan grid. So any open issues after June 16th were incorporated into the plan grid reports, which is the 3rd set of reports.
Right.
However, you still have some that are functioning in your field report prior to that date, don't you, from what you're saying here? In this one, the center section.
All the way through June 16th, anything that was outstanding through June 16th is in that center
I was
section.
going to say, so we still
Yes,
have
sir.
some, excuse me, we're working on.
There's 74 of them. Yes, sir. Yes.
The big question is, what do you think?
I'm very encouraged. We've seen more progress these last 2 weeks than we have seen in several months. The 2 additional superintendents that Donnie has on the job helping HMC are tremendous impact. They're working very hard to make sure that these items are resolved. They're going through each one with me, and we're walking and making sure they understand what needs to be done, and they're coming up with good solutions and getting these things taken care of. So HMC's done a good job in getting additional staff down on the job, which was needed. The subs that are coming out are continuing to work and complete in accordance with the contract documents, and if we have a concern, they're taking care of it for us. So I'm very encouraged. On the schedule, as Donnie said, we reviewed the schedule. There are 6 items that need to be updated, which Commissioner Dudnick pointed out. The civil area, once we tell them what needs to be done on the swale, they need to update those items, and then the fence needs to be updated. There are, Donnie already mentioned the items that related to fire alarm devices. There's 6 items that need to be corrected or updated, I should say, once A1 gets those back boxes in. They're not critical path items. The flagpole installation needs to be updated, not a critical path item. So they are maintaining the schedule for October 27th. Substantial completion at this time.
Recommendations?
Continue doing what we're doing, and reporting to the court has made an impact, and I believe it's helped. And we need to continue to do what we're doing these past few weeks.
Donnie, is there anything we can do to help you?
No, sir.
We want you to understand, and we want you to understand that this is important to us, and we're going to pursue it till we get it tended to. And I'm sorry that we've had to do it this way. I wish we didn't have to meet every week, but we do and we will. And we appreciate what you've done at this point and what you've done at this point, but it needs to keep on until we get through.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments from any of the court? Okay, thank you. What else, Jim?
That's all I got, Judge.
Anything on the dispute with the neighbor?
I've got no news on that. We're waiting on TCEQ to finish their investigation. And when I spoke with the investigator there, she didn't know how long that would take. I got her that environmental report yesterday. So I'll check back with her beginning of next week before we come back and see where they are. I have not spoken with Mr. Malloy about any of his desires or complaints. I was waiting to hear back from TCEQ before we met on that, and we'll see what happens with that. That may, if he does follow through with his threats to bring claims, we'd have to meet in an executive session to talk about that. But right now, I haven't heard anything from him or his counsel for quite some time.
Thank you. Anything else from the court members? Anything? Donnie? We appreciate what you're doing. We are sorry that it's come down to where we have to meet every week talking about it, but if y'all will just complete it, and I'm very hopeful that you will. All right. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All voted for, we're in adjournment.